Great. Well, welcome to our guest for Jessie Gruca's presentation on running a half and full marathon. Yay, BG. I'll hand it over to Jessie, but I know that at the end of her presentation, we'll have some time for Q&A. In fact, if it's just you, I'm just going to allow you to unmute yourself, but if you want to wait. All right, Jessie, go ahead.
All right. Well, hello, I'm Jessie Gruca. I'm a running coach and a marathon runner, and we're here to talk about getting started running and training for your first half or full marathon. I want to thank Northfield Library for bringing me in to present on this. I love talking running, so this is exciting. All right, so a little about me. I am a Roadrunner Club of America certified running coach. I'm on a goal of running a marathon in all 50 states. So I've done 23 marathons and in 21 different states, starting in 2011, so 10 years ago. But I've also done quite a few half marathons. I even dabbled in triathlons and I've done a half Ironman. I'm a mom of 2 little kids. I'm a full-time working mom. I'm a civil engineer. My husband's a physical therapist, and my dog is pretty much my coach and running partner. As we go through this presentation, we'll discuss what your reason is for running, ways to get motivated to run, any key concepts for hydrating and fueling. And at the end, I have some example, like 3-week training plans, depending on what your level is for running. So has anyone had any experiences doing a race that might help guide? I know we have one guest. So we can start by, you're training for a third half marathon. That's great. It's very exciting. So you'll probably, a lot of the beginning part is more like getting started. So you'll probably understand from the beginning, but I can dig more into training as we go through. So mostly with starting to run, you pretty much need a reason to find your reason for running. And some reasons to run could be you want to achieve something you haven't done before. So even if it's just like starting to run a new distance, you want to feel healthier, you want to look or feel better with running, you have a new goal to chase, someone talked you into it. I know that was my experience in college. One of my roommates talked me into running a half marathon, and then I was hooked after that. It just looks fun. And so whatever your reason could be, that helps get you motivated out the door. So what is running? So running is moving steadily with a spring in your step when you have a period of time where both feet are off the ground. In instant step walking, you have just one foot always on the ground. Jogging is just running slowly, which is also good for easy recovery runs. And then sprinting is running fast, like usually if you do any track work or interval work would be sprinting. So who can be a runner? Anyone? Any running doesn't discriminate, any shape or size. It's all good to get out there. So to get started with running, it kind of helps if you have a goal in mind. So some goal setting tips. You have to figure out like where you are in your situation. Obviously, you said you were running your third half marathon, so you seem pretty experienced in this, but even if you're just starting running, so if you're just picking up running, you're coming back from an injury, sometimes you have to come back to a starting point. You're planning to run a new distance where at that point you just kind of want to forget about time and just want to finish it. Or if you are experienced, so this is if your third half marathon, maybe you want to set a new PR if you've already done that before. So it's nice to have like a goal or a plan, like have it written down, a commitment so you can see it. So that'll help keep you motivated. And especially with social media, sometimes just letting people know about it kind of keeps an excuse to get you out. Question was, what is a PR? So that's a personal record. So whatever your best time is for whatever distance that you're doing. So if this is your third PR, planning on it, I'm sure one of your races you've gotten a better time than your previous one. So whatever your best time is for that distance would be considered a PR. So here's just good running quote. So a quote on goal setting. Running does take, there's a lot that goes into running. Running, it may be one of the cheapest sports where all you need is a pair of running shoes and workout clothes, but it does take time to build up that endurance and have the motivation to keep going and chasing after your goals. So now we'll dig into creating a training plan that fits you, because not every training plan, I know there's a lot of books out there, there's Google that has a bunch of training programs, but what your friend does or finds may not be convenient for you as a runner. We all run at different paces. We have different running forms. Let's get into the physical training. So just getting started running, just put on a pair of comfortable shoes, dress for the weather. So obviously right now with the sun and humidity, we'd want lighter clothes and just go out for a run. And so if you've never run before, it helps. So just jog gently till you're somewhat out of breath, and then you can begin to walk if you are just starting, and then beginning to jog again when you feel comfortable, and walking as necessary. But I feel like we have experience as runners, so we don't need to do the run walk method, but that is always there. It's not a problem. I've actually known some speed walkers that I think their speed walking time was as fast as my running marathon time. So it's pretty impressive. And just have fun with running. When you're getting started, you don't want to need to necessarily focus on distance, but just get times and increase your time. So with getting started, it's usually good to keep a running journal or a log. I personally use a Garmin running watch, which I wear all the time, and it has like an app or online thing. So it keeps track of my runs, my weekly distance. So it's just good to see like where you're starting, how you're progressing, and how much more distance you're getting with your running, to keep track. And you can also put in like how you're feeling on your runs. So it's just good to keep like a training log to see how, like after your race, you can look back at all the work that you did put in to get where you're at. It is better to undertrain than to overtrain. If you're doing too much, your body just gets burned out and run down, and that's worse going into a race than if you are undertrained. So make sure we have proper recovery time. For getting started, a sample workout plan would just be to rest a day, run a day, rest as you're getting used to running and building your endurance. And just remember, it doesn't matter how fast you run, just getting out the door. You're obviously lacking people that are sitting on the couch. I probably don't need to go over the run walk strategy since we have experienced runners, but there's no problem with the run walk strategy. Just running at a comfortable pace and then taking walk breaks as you build your endurance. It is good to work different muscles, even if we were to do like, so this would be an example of like a fartlek or interval workout. You could just do a run, jog. So sprinting or running in between, interspersing. So it helps reduce injury if you have working different muscles. Even during a race, it's good to walk through like the water stations. Usually races have the water stations every 2 to 3 miles. So just slow down, take a drink of water, then you can go back and take off again. So I'll go over some dynamic stretching, and which is good to do before, and then static stretching for after. I do have videos for an example of what my normal dynamic stretching routine is before I go out for like a longer run, or if I have a workout. Easy runs, I might skip it, but going in. So dynamic stretching is good for loosening up the muscles. It gets your body prepped to run, and it will help improve your endurance. So it's good to do these. So these are like really motion kind of stretching. They're not just standing still stretches, because the static stretches aren't really good before, because your muscles aren't warmed up and you're just pulling like tight muscles as it is. So these will help loosen the muscles as we go. So I just have a video of each of them. So you're working on your hamstrings as you're going out, and some core strength, because running is built in through the core. focus on, so that I just do that like 5 or 6 times for the inchworm. Leg swings. So this is just the front. So this is going to help work your glutes, because a lot of the running actually does come from the glutes. They typically say runners have weak glutes, but we should actually be working to strengthen those, since that's where the primary spot of our running is coming from. And then we also have the side leg swings. Again, it's working your side hips. I know we don't do a lot of lateral movement when you're running, but it's still good to do those as well. Yes, I would suggest doing stretches for active walk. It's good to loosen those up, because I know like some days I'll walk faster than others, because I also, with my dog or with the kids, like I'll go out for walks as well. And it's good to get the body loosened up. And this helps get your heart rate also up a bit just before your runs. And so it's good to do that. The lunges. So I do like a 3-way lunge system. So forward to the side and then cross over. So make sure we do it on each leg. So I'd probably do it 5 times on each leg. Bridges. So this also is going to work the core. And so marching bridges. This also will wake up the glutes. I think bridges is a great way to wake up the glutes, because all of our leg swinging is coming from there. And with the dynamic stretching, it's kind of waking your brain up too. Like, oh, I'm noticing these muscles. I should be using them when we're running or walking. So the flowing string stretch. So this is gonna first do your hip flexor and your front quad. Do the pelvic tilt, you're stretching here. And then when you lean back, stretching your hamstrings, you're also getting some of your back stretch as well. And then I like to end with a little knee to chest. So that's also waking up some of the hip flexors and your glutes. So if your range of motion's impaired, just do what you can. If it's too much for you, don't obviously push it farther with the stretching. Just, yeah, move what you can. Just even just a shake your legs out a bit. That's sufficient. Just as long as you're getting, it's trying to, for me, I'm a morning runner, so I get up, and so obviously I was sleeping. I eat something and then get out and go. So the dynamic stretching, for me, it gets all the blood flowing and wakes up the muscles, because I was sleeping. But obviously later during the day, even if you just walk a bit before you go out for a run, just shaking out and getting some blood flow is pretty important before getting out for your workouts. Then static stretches. So these are good to do after your body's already been warmed up and loosened up. So it's tired. And as you rest and just sit down, your muscles will start contracting and stiffening up. So it's good to do some stretching after, so to keep them a bit loose so we're not too sore after our run. So thigh stretch. So pelvic tilt will give you a deeper stretch in the front, and try to grab your ankle so you're not putting too much pressure if you grab your foot. And that will stress your ankle out more. So try to grab from your ankle and do a pelvic tilt to get a deeper stretch in the thigh or quad. Switch sides. I have 2 hamstring stretches. The fold over is good, but that can also kind of strain your back. So I like to do the kneeling hamstring stretch. So pelvic tilt, have one knee down, and then you just bend over your extended foot. And so that'll get the back of your quad, your hamstring, which is a good stretch. And then here's one you can do laying down. Really not flexible, so I don't get much pull when I'm doing it. So just grab a rope, put your leg through it, and then keep your knee as straight as you can, and then pull it towards your face to get it through your hamstring. Your IT band stretch. So a crossover, and then you're going to push into this hip on the outside and lean. So you'll get a stretch through the side of your leg. Calf stretch. So this works your gastro muscle. You lean into it. You can also work, there's another calf muscle like in the back. Again, like underneath the main calf muscle, the soleus. So if you bend your knee, you can get deeper into your muscle. All right, I think this is the last one. So this is a hip flexor stretch. Again, key, get the pelvic tilt, lean forward. You're stretching in here, and to get a little deeper, lean to the opposite side with your arm over. So that'll get a good stretch into your quad. Oh, sorry, this one should be the last one. So this one stretches your piriformis, which is near your glutes. So those muscles, especially after, I guess they're both going. But so do the slide. You're going to cross this leg over the opposite leg and then pull your leg to your chest. So that's a good stretch through your glutes. This other one, if you cross over your leg and just lean over, I like to try to hold that one for a while. That gets a really deep stretch in your glutes. You don't necessarily have to go all the way to the ground. Trust me, there's some days where I'm still up on my arms because I'm pretty tight. Yes, pigeon pose is what they call it for yogis out there. All right, so now we'll look into good running form. So this will help keep you more relaxed, have good posture, so you're not tightening up in other areas of your body. So it's important to have more of an upright posture. You want to lean forward. Now you want to lean more from your ankles forward, not just from your hips, because then you're just bending over your back. This will allow you to have your center of mass on the front part of your foot and avoid landing on your heel, because there's usually a differentiation. There's heel foot strikers and forefoot strikers. Not necessarily one's bad worse than the other. You will have more momentum using a midfoot strike. I personally was a heel foot striker when I started running, but I got a lot of knee pain from the impact of my heel on the ground. So I was able to switch and lean more forward and be a midfoot striker. So I don't actually have knee pain anymore. So that usually can help. But again, the same thing, if nothing hurts, it's not broken, don't change anything, because it is a process. It did take me a few months to change over my running form, but it does seem to be more beneficial to be more of a midfoot striker. You're able to push off a lot quicker instead of landing on your heel. This will allow you to have a more relaxed frame. Some common running mistakes is tilting your chin down or up when you're running and scrunching your shoulders. So you're causing a lot of tension in these muscles when you should want to be more relaxed. You don't want to have tight fists because you're putting a lot of energy focusing on keeping your fists tight. So you want to have them relaxed, like you're holding a bag of chips when you're running. So that's just some quick information. Strides, so that's your cadence. So it's how many steps per minute that you're getting. A good cadence is anywhere from 170 to 180. So how quickly you can get your feet off the ground. So that'll help propel you. Running pace is measured usually in minutes per mile or minutes per kilometer. And usually our faster strides actually coincide with our arm swing. Usually they say at the end of the race, usually when your legs are done, just if you can, I know you're mentally thinking, that's also a big part of running, is like the mental part. Usually you keep thinking your legs are so tired, but if you try focusing on your arm swing, it kind of changes, because you're like, oh, if I can get my arms moving, my legs will keep up and go with me. And like another thing with that, you don't want your arms to be crossing in front of your body. You want to keep them at your side. So that is also another place where we can waste energy. So here's just a quick visual for good running form. You want to keep your head level. Don't put your chin up or down. Have a relaxed posture. Again, keep your shoulders relaxed over your hips. You want to run tall. It's kind of like you're floating, like taking off and like leaning forward. Hands, keep them loose. Again, arms have a 90-degree swing and don't cross over your chest. Feet, you want to land under your body, not in front. Keep that high cadence, and knees keep a slight bend and try not to lift them too high as we're going. We want to keep a continuous swing. And so that's really where we're focusing most of our stuff, coming through the glutes as we're running. So running injuries, that's a big scare with running. We never want to be injured as we're running. So areas where we could have running injuries is when we have a change in volume that could lead to injuries. So if we're just all of a sudden doing so many more miles or that our body's not used to, that's why we recommend a 10% rule, adding 10% of your weekly miles each week to build up so your body can adjust. So some places for injuries with change of volume is patellofemoral pain syndrome. So that's the runner's knee pain, or your IT band, which is on the side of your leg. It attaches at your knee and continues up to your leg. So I've had both of those injuries. It does take time to come back. Also a change in your running pace so if you all of a sudden are speeding up a lot quicker than your body's used to, you can get Achilles tendon pain or plantar fasciitis, which is pain in your heel. I've had the plantar fasciitis one. I also feel that can happen if you're changing running shoes. Usually running shoes, we want to rotate at least every 400 miles. So I usually get some aches and pains when I notice that my running shoes, I have too many miles on them. But again, you can track that with your logging. I like to rotate my shoes depending on my type of workouts. So I have like a little lighter shoe for speed workout days. I have a heavier shoe for like long run days. And then I have like everyday running easy shoes that I rotate through. Since I have a lot of shoes in my closet for running. My daughter likes to count shoe as we're going through. And then, so yeah, your body's under a lot of stress with all the repetitiveness of running. And if there's not enough time to recover, that's where usually you can lead to injury. So it's good to have a rest day or recovery easy day. So ways to reduce injury: make sure you warm up, like our dynamic stretches, or even just walk before, and cool down. I usually walk for my cool down a bit. I live on a court, so I just walk around the court back to my house a bit. Also better running form will help reduce injuries, using some strength training exercises. So anything that will focus on, like lunges are good, deadlifts, squatting. So anything to work the muscles. Lateral lunges, one direction, is good to help strengthen the muscles and help reduce injury. Make sure we're eating enough. I know when we get into higher mileage training with half marathons, we burn a lot of calories on those long runs, but if we're not refueling and feeding ourselves, that can also cause injuries because we're not replenishing the muscles. And a balanced diet is also helpful. And then recovery and rest is actually pretty key to training. So some just overview of some benefits of running: it improves your cardiovascular respiratory health, it improves your cardiovascular fitness, reduces cholesterol, strengthens your bones, strengthens your immune system. But this is also a fine line where if we get into overtraining, we're doing too much, our body's too tired to fight any viruses or anything. So make sure we have our rest days, and sleep helps a lot. This can help improve self-esteem and improve metabolism. Good way to start getting in shape. And like anything, consistency is key, and to keep going to increase your speed and distance. So hydration, especially in the summer, is going to be important for running. Drinking is going to help prevent dehydration, replenish your fuels, and helps your body cool down. So usually when I'm on, so when to drink something before, during, and after, depending on your distance. Usually if I'm just doing an easy 20-30 minute run, I probably won't bring water with me on the run. But if I'm doing maybe anything more than like 40-45 minutes, I'll probably carry something so I can make sure I replenish. And best to drink usually every 20 minutes, just like at the aid stations during a race, or every 2 to 3 miles. So that's equates about 20-25 minutes to be refueling if we can. If you're going on longer runs, it's good to have sports drinks, like, so examples would be Gatorade or Powerade. So that's huge. You don't really need those for 5Ks or 10, like short and easy runs. But if you're doing a hard workout or longer than a 10K, that's good to bring in like carbohydrates and replenish your sodium. If you're like a heavy sweater and sweat out a lot of salt, it's really good to replenish with the sports drinks, or drink electrolytes to refuel. And they say as soon as you feel thirsty, you're usually dehydrated, they say. So it's kind of hard during a race, but try to be prepared and drink up beforehand. So runners' diet. So it's good to have a balance of all the major food groups, so proteins, healthy fats, and carbohydrates. If you're doing long distance, like half or full, I really do not recommend low carb diets, because carbs are actually going to be your fuel and be the quick energy that you need for running. I usually eat beforehand. I do not run well on empty. I am a morning runner, so even when I wake up, I'll have a banana and peanut butter, or even Eggo waffle and peanut butter before I go out, even for my easy runs. I don't run well on empty stomach. I feel like I have more energy going out if I fuel beforehand. And especially for a long run, it's good to experiment beforehand with fueling. And then during a long run, I usually bring fuel if I'm going to be running over an hour. Today I did an 11-mile run this morning, and so I had fuel during my run at around like the 6-mile mark. And then after, especially long runs, you want to eat within 30 minutes. If it's just an easy run, just eat like a normal day whenever you eat breakfast or lunch kind of thing. But eating after is going to be good to replenish your muscles. Good drink. But yeah, eating good proteins after your workout can rebuild your muscles. So good carb to protein ratios of 4-to-1. So more on nutrition. Again, it's really critical for half or full marathons. So I will get into that. I do have a page on fueling, on what to eat during the run. I think it might be next. So I'll get back to your question, Samantha. So carbohydrates are going to bring in your glycogen and protein, which will repair your muscle tissue. And I'm sure you guys know examples of good carbs and proteins to eat. I know some people are lactose intolerant or gluten-free. So, but as long as you're finding ways to get in some carbs and protein in whatever way you can, that'll be very beneficial. Okay, so here's our fueling question. So fueling for runs, during long runs, which are typically I consider runs over 60 minutes. Eating before, I kind of like to pair a carb and protein, so bagel and peanut butter, or even jelly for a little more sugar, oatmeal, toast, banana. Usually your long runs are where you're going to want to experiment with what settles well with you. So you're not doing anything new before your race. So experiment with what works well for you before a long run. So during your long runs and you want to bring fuel, I have a handheld water bottle that has this little zip up pouch where I can put my fuel in. So today I had a GU with me. So GU it's an easy, quick fuel that usually has a good mix of carbs and some sugar for a quick energy. They're really easy to carry. So you just slurp it up and make sure we have water with it. But other types of fuel, if you want to go more natural, dried fruit, I mean, gummy bears work great. Those energy chews or blocks, Lara bars, pretzels are all good or dates even are actually really good to bring during your run. Yes, I agree. There are a ton of fun flavors of GU. I think peanut butter is my favorite. I think I could put peanut butter on everything. So I usually, you want to take those in the first 45 minutes and then every 30 minutes after. And for your long run, you're really going to want to eat within the first 30 minutes so that your muscles can recover and have more energy throughout the day. So pancakes, eggs, chocolate milk, granola bars, even if it's something quick, just have some chocolate milk after and then come back and eat a better meal. I know some people, their stomachs don't feel that great after a long run. So as long as you get something in right away, you can come back a little later when your stomach settles for a normal meal. Easy short runs, you don't really need to eat before or after, like in the sense to rebuild. But so I'd consider those under 60 minutes, just short, easy, able to keep a conversation. I still like to eat something before I go out just because I run in the morning, but some people run in the afternoon. So you probably already had a snack or something before you went out, and then just go about your day and eat something anytime after. So long run. So training for a half or a full, this is going to be the core of our training. So this is going to build our endurance, make sure we can go the distance. So a half is a 13.1 and a full is 26.2. We usually want to keep these slower than usual, just because we want to build that time in our feet. So then this is also a good time to test out some of the logistics part of your run. So because they always say, do not try anything new on race day. Like if you try to get a new outfit to wear for your race, you don't worry about chafing. So you kind of want to practice out the clothing you'll wear. You want your shoes broken in already. So I wouldn't recommend putting on a new pair of shoes just for the race. You want to test out different weather conditions because you never know if it's going to rain or be colder than expected, humid, and then practice what you're going to eat and drink during your runs. And then after long runs, usually massage, shower, change your clothes. Some other types of runs during training would be like doing hill workouts, hill repeats. You just go on Hines. Some of those hills are pretty steep. Those are good. Even downtown Northville, I like to climb some of those hills, which are good workouts. A fartlek run, so that would be kind of making your own speed workout. So say, oh, I want to sprint to that mailbox, and then I'll slow down for a bit. Oh, I'm going to sprint 2 blocks, and then I'll slow down for 2 blocks as well or something. So that's kind of making your own speed work. So good to interchange and work different muscles. And we have just our easy conversation pace runs. Usually for training, about 80% of our runs are going to be easy, comfortable, and 20% is going to be our hard quality speed workouts to see a change because we need a chance for our body to recover. So easy conversation paces, usually about like 2 minutes slower than what a 5K race pace would be. So keeps our legs fresh so we can build on the distance during the week. Progression runs, that's saying maybe every 5 minutes or every mile, we're going to pick up the pace a bit more. So it makes a nice little step ladder for your running distance. And as you're more an advanced runner, there's going to be tempo runs. So you'll warm up and then you'll run at a faster pace for say like 20 minutes and then cool down. So that's building up your speed for longer periods of time where you can do your tempo runs. And then intervals would be more like track workouts. So if you go on the track and do 400, so do 1 lap, take a recovery, run, do another sprint of 1 lap or on the track. So those would be an example of intervals, or even just mile repeats. Do 3 1-mile repeats with a half-mile recovery in between would be an example of intervals. Now the motivation part of training can be a challenge. Usually some people it helps to have a running partner, so that'll keep you motivated. Like, oh, we're going to meet at 6:30 a.m. to go for a run. And when you have a friend to keep you accountable, it kind of makes it easier to get out the door. Write your goals down, keep it visible, keep track of your training progress or programs that you're doing. I like to keep my training plan out so I know what type of workout I'm going to do that day. I lay my clothes out the night before so I can just wake up, grab it, and get ready to go out the door in the morning. Plus, I do have my dog. She knows when the alarm goes off, it's time to go. So I don't really get a chance to sleep back in. But then sometimes it helps having a running coach can help keep you motivated with checking in and giving you a training plan as well. The key parts of your training plan, you really want to run at least 3 to 4 times a week in order to see improvement. I know 2 to 3 times a week can be good for your cardio health, which is not a problem. But if you actually want to see improvement, get faster, build your endurance, you're going to want to run at least 3 times a week to do that. To get faster, you need to run at a faster pace. So you're not going to get faster if you keep doing easy runs all the time. Build endurance, you need to practice running longer. it's important to have at least one rest day or recovery day, or even if you do like some cross training, but take a full day at least off of running. More miles is not always better. Just think quality runs, it's better than nothing, and just to have fun with it. I'll walk through some example training plans. So this would be an example if someone's just starting off running with a run walk program. So if this was saying someone's just starting fresh, I want you to walk for 4 minutes, then run for a minute and do that 4 times to hit 20 minutes. Just go for 25-minute walk stroll. So a little quicker pace than just a casual walk. And then you'll start building up. You'll go a longer distance. You'll start increasing your run time. So that's a good run walk start off plan. So someone who's able, so this would be a novice training plan. So someone who's able to get 2 to 3 miles in running, this will work with, so you can run 3 miles. Then the next day you could do some cross training. And cross training would be like maybe elliptical, riding your bike, swimming, something else to work your muscle, but still get your heart rate up a bit. They're good cross training activities. Rest, I mean, you can even do yoga or stretch too as well. And for, like I had explained, that's your own form of speed workout. And so it will increase our distance as we go. More intermediate, we'll probably add some hill workouts in. We'll add some tempo runs to work on at least getting some speed work in and running distances at certain paces. So I can help figure out different paces that you're training with. If you've done a race, I can figure out what pace works best for you and help you reach your goal for your half or full marathon. As you get more advanced, we'll do a lot more, and we'll have tempo runs. We'll do like hill repeat workouts. We'll also do some interval work. So depending on your level, we'll even do long runs that will have workouts in them. So depending on where you are on your level, there'd be different type of training. This is just a quick overview of races coming up. I'm personally doing the Dexter Ann Arbor half marathon next month. Just some other ones around Michigan. We got Marquette coming up, Run Woodstock. I've heard really good things about Run Woodstock. They have a variety of distances and makes it fun. Women Run the D, then some of the major races coming up, Chicago, Boston, Detroit. I'm doing half for that one. And yeah, so just get out there. There's options to get out and run. This wraps it up. You never know what you're capable of until you get out the door and go for it. Does anyone have any questions? Oh yeah, moonshine. Okay. Yeah, not a problem. I'm glad to share any knowledge, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions or want to progress in your running. Here to support you. Maybe I'll see you out in Hines running around. Always up for running partners. So.
Are there any more questions? Let me stop that.
It was a really nice presentation, Jessica. A lot of good tips. Thank you so much for this.
Not a problem. This was fun.
All right. So our guest left. Let me stop recording.